and welcome to episode 34 of the Lonely Knitter podcast. Hi, my name is Laura and I am a yarn dyer and a yarn festival director from the most easterly town in England. I'm coming to you from Folk Yarn Studio, which is my workspace here in Suffolk. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me. And if you're a new viewer, hi, welcome to the chaos. This is my crafty corner of the internet where I come to chat all about my yarny life, mainly knitting, crochet, other little bits and bobs here and there. First up, I will do my usual and apologise if you have any background noise. I am right by the sea and the seagulls are feral. I am also in a larger building with lots of other businesses, so sometimes there is creaking and the odd noise from inside and outside. While we're here at the very beginning of the video, I will take my moment to let you know that all the links for the show notes, etc., everything is down below. You can find the link there to East Anglia Yarn Festival, which is the yarn show that I run. The applications for vendors for the 2026 show are still open. They will be open until the end of June. There is also a link to my other website, which is Folk Yarn Studio. That is where you can find the yarn that I dye, the folk yarn, East Anglian yarn that I make. The last thing that I'm going to talk about before I get on with the podcast properly is the Discord group. You can find the link below to join the Folk Yarn Studio Hangout over on Discord. It is a free, fun, friendly community space where we chat all about our projects, what we're making. It's just a bit of fun, nice little area of the internet, I think, anyway. But it's also where you can find all of the channels for the Makealongs. So I run various Makealongs. At the moment, we are running the Friends That Grimble Together Makealong, which is co-hosted with my lovely friend Helen of Giddy Yarns. We are making gnomes from the patterns by Sarah Schira. I am particularly making gnomes. I'm trying to work my way through the entire Gnomes of Grimblewood. But you don't have to knit the gnomes from the book. You can knit any of Sarah's patterns, and if you enter them into the finished objects threads in both my Discord and Helen's Discord, you can be in with a chance of winning prizes. While I'm on that point, towards the end of this video, once I've spoken about finished objects, whips, stash enhancements, stuff like that, I do have a giveaway winner to announce for the Friends That Grimble Together Makealong. We were drawing a midway prize. There'll still be prizes at the end, but just a little midway prize for everybody. And I believe Helen is doing the same thing over on her channel, so make sure you are up to date with her podcast too. In the Discord, you can also find a thread for Advents of Summer, which is my most recently begun Makealong, which runs through until September the 14th, where we are working on finishing, grabbing whips, starting new, whatever you want, but finishing projects that are Advent related, mainly because I have Advents that I want to work with and I keep procrastinating on them. Discord is the place for all things Makealong. It's where I have my 5 minutes a day crafting channel and lots of other little things. So I would definitely recommend it if you want to get involved or be in with a chance of winning prizes. The last channel that I will mention in there is the finished objects thread. If you make anything that is 50% or more my yarn, be that Lonely Knitter hand-dyed yarn or folk yarn, you can enter it into that thread as well, and I draw prizes quarterly. I think that was all of my start of the podcast admin. We'll see. I've probably forgotten something. Did I say it was Friday the 6th of June? I'm going to put my sock down to talk about finished objects because I do have a finished object. This is Gnatalia, the colourwork gnome. I have a lot of love for Gnatalia. Gnatalia is the cutest. I made Gnatalia from DK weight yarn. I used leftovers for pretty much all of it. Yeah, all of it. The hat, main colour, and the beard and the nose and the hands are just from undyed DK weight yarn. The body and the arms are made from one of my Tim Burton inspired colourways, and then I used scraps of other colours, the purple and the dark blue. The dark purple and the dark blue are also Tim Burton inspired colourways, and the light purple was one of my Jane Eyre inspired colours. And yeah, I think this is my biggest gnome so far from the ones we've been doing this year. But now Gnatalia can take her place. Gnatalia has a tassel. I love Gnatalia. I didn't choose to make feet. One of the examples showed some feet that had been added, and I didn't choose to add feet, and I'm okay with that. It wasn't in the main instructions for the pattern. It would have been an additional extra. But I'm good with no feet on my Gnatalia. I'm happy. So that was my May gnome. So I am up to date with my Friends That Grimble Together plan that I made for myself. So yeah, finished object number 1. Okay, finished object number 2 is something that you haven't actually seen at all yet. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I last recorded and things have happened. This is a Granny Hexi Cardi that I made for my 5-year-old. I have quite a dinky 5-year-old. My little boy was a month early and he is still in age 3 to 4 tops for school. But he is going to be 6 soon, well, in the autumn. And I made his sister, you might remember from my previous episode, I think it was, I made his sister a Granny Hexi Cardi and she absolutely loved it. And when he saw it, he said, "When are you making my jacket?" So I asked him what sort of colours he would like and he said stripy blues. So we went online together and had a little look. I wanted something that would wash and wear easily and I decided to go for another commercial yarn. He spotted one and went that straight away. Be prepared to laugh at me because I have never been able to say this. I don't know how to say it. The brand, I'm going to put the word up on the screen. Now, some people just say Schjeepjes. Some people say Schjeepjes. I don't know how to say it. I'm just going to say Schjeepjes. Someone correct me, please. Please, I need it. Anyway, this is made from 2 of their cotton whirls, which were a DK weight, or meant to be a DK weight, but it felt very light for a DK weight. And it's a gradient from a very light blue with lots of white in it to a very dark navy. I got 2 of the whirls so that I could make the 2 hexes at the same time and keep trying it on him, but also they would match. And they do. So this is the back. So obviously you make 2 hexagons and then you join them together. I made a little back panel at the back to make a little space for the back of the neck. And then you can make it longer as and where you want on the body or the sleeves. I chose not to make his with very baggy sleeves because he's such a dinky little thing, and if I had made the hexes wide enough that they would have been the right length for his body, I would have found it annoying. Right now the sleeves are hitting him about here, which is great because he likes to get into things and he doesn't want to be catching them, but I do have the option to add a little length if I want. He would now like me, he has said, to put one button on the front somewhere, and I'm going to do the same on my daughter's because then I can just loop the first crochet granny stitch over it and he can just fasten it a little bit so it doesn't blow around in the wind because we're right on the sea and it is a windy seaside town. So yeah, I have finished his Granny Hexi Cardi. He is very happy with it. I had quite a lot of yarn left over. When I bought it, it cost me £19.42 all in for the 2 whirls. Now I've just looked online because I went to see how much it costs, and one of the whirls is £29.99 on Amazon. So I was baffled. Seems unreal, so I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I stole it from him today. He has worn it to school. He has worn it to the beach. He has worn it within an inch of its life already, and it's wearing really well considering it has been worn, and I believe it might have been washed actually. Yes, I hand washed this one, which I don't normally do, but I did it in the sink with a load of other knits, and I think it's worn really well. In comparison, my daughter is wearing hers. Hers is made from Signet Boho Spirit, and that is not wearing as well. It is getting incredibly fluffy. Might not have been the best choice for a garment for my little one, but she still loves it, and when it eventually turns into a fuzzball, she'll probably have grown out of it by then and need a new one anyway. But that is finished object number 2, a garment for my 5-year-old. Those are all my finished objects. I feel like I said number 2, like I was going to come out with a number 3. So we're going to go on to whips. The first whip I'm going to show you is my Sweet Shop blanket. I am making a Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose throughout this year with the mini skein club that I run. My mini skein club has 3 minis every month, and this is my blanket so far. So I started making my blanket with an undyed yarn, which I ripped out, and the undyed is now going into many gnomes. This is my blanket now. It's growing. But I have slightly failed this month. I wanted to get May's minis in by the end of the month. I'm working on a big secret family project, which isn't for the podcast because it is a secret and it's a family thing. So I haven't had a huge amount of time to work on anything really, and it's been a couple of weeks since I last podcasted, which is why I have got a couple of finished objects. But I didn't manage to get all of my minis into the blanket before the end of May, so I'm on catch up on this one thing. So for May so far, I have this square, this is the stitch marker that came with this month, this square and this square in progress, which I finished the blue and I am now on the contrast colour. And then here, at the end of this row, I will have one more to go in. I can show you the mini. It's all living in this absolutely gorgeous Lay Family yarn, hand-dyed yarn woven bag, which I love. So I have one more to go in. I am making my blanket from DK weight yarn. So this one will go in, and then May is done, and I have a couple of weeks until I will ball up the yarn for the June colours. And then I am still putting all of my leftovers from the blanket into a magic knot ball. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm really excited. I might do a corner to corner crochet square and then put a border of a contrast colour on it and make another blanket. I know. I'm really enjoying making this blanket. I'm really enjoying this pattern. I'm really enjoying getting the squares done each month. Well, I'm always a little bit behind, but I'm really enjoying seeing the whole club actually work up into a project. So I'm loving this. But my Sweet Shop blanket is whip number 1, and I will hopefully have the rest of May finished by next week. The next whip I'm going to show you is one that I was working on a second ago, and that is my Spin and Blether Advent socks. It's the Advent stripes from 2024, because we're in 2025 now. So this is my first whip for the Advents of Summer Makealong. Last year in December, everything just got crazily busy, and I didn't end up getting out my Spin and Blether Advent stripe socks. When I kicked off the Advents of Summer Makealong, I decided that this would be my first small project to walk around with me and get a little bit of work on. This is sock number 1, but I do also have sock number 2. The bright green stripe that I have just finished was stripe 17 on both socks. With these, I think last time I showed them to you, I had a cuff or a cuff and a half. I'm not 100%. I wasn't very far in. I finished both the cuffs on their separate needles, and then I put them onto one needle and worked them 2 at a time until about here. And I realised that working them 2 at a time means that I couldn't focus on anything else, because I was getting really into my rhythm and then just knitting across all of the stitches and not stopping and switching yarn on the second sock. I don't want that stress in my life. They're my vanilla knit. So I grabbed out another needle and put them onto separate needles again. And I'm so happy I did, because they have absolutely flown by, because it's so much easier for me to just grab out one sock. I am really, really enjoying working one stripe, then swapping over to the other one and doing one stripe. It is stopping my second sock syndrome. I do get second sock syndrome really bad. I have barely knit any fingering weight socks this year, and I think it is because second sock syndrome has been getting me. And I wonder if from now on, having 2 needles and working them together might be my way forward to cure that for me. Either way, I'm loving them. I love Spin and Blether yarn. The stripes are always beautiful. My experience with Spin and Blether has been brilliant so far. Brilliant customer service, brilliant yarn, gorgeous stripes, and I can't wait to have these finished, and I'm hoping that these will be my first finished project for the Advents of Summer Makealong. I still haven't decided if I'm going to actually put heels in, because I really enjoyed keeping the ones from the year before as tube socks, and I wore them around the house loads, in shoes loads. I didn't have an issue with the little bit of bunching. It didn't bother me one little bit from where it goes around my heel. I haven't decided. It's all living in my Gremlins bag, so Christmas themed still. I have both the cakes in there, I have both the projects in there, I have this mini, which is the contrast yarn that came with it, and the leftovers from the first mini, because it came with 2 minis. This is a whip that I'm actually hoping, you never know, might be finished by next week, because I've really only worked on this since Monday this week, whenever I've had a little bit of waiting time, like at kids' swimming lessons and in the car for a couple of minutes, and they've absolutely flown by. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have these done for next week. I have one other thing that I have worked on, but I wasn't really counting it as a whip, but I'm going to show you. It's this funny looking log. In the studio, I do stock a small amount of different commercial yarns, and this is something that I had wanted to try and hadn't found locally, so decided to go ahead and get a few of. So I stock these in the studio, but I don't have them on my website, and I'm going to have a couple of open days throughout the summer, just ones where I'm open to the public. I will publish the dates in the next couple of weeks, and because I don't know anyone else who had these locally, especially, I thought I'll just add. So I have like a little bit of cotton yarn. I have some different gradient cakes and things from other brands, commercial yarns, and this granny square yarn, it's the Red Heart granny square yarn, so this is acrylic, it's affordable. It's something that I wanted to try, I wanted to use. I couldn't find anyone else in my local town or over in Beccles when I went the other week stocking it, and I decided to grab a little. So I have tried a little bit of it out. This isn't something I'm selling on my website at the moment. If folks are interested and wanted to get it from me, I can sort that out. So the idea with this yarn is that you can make granny squares without having to change colour, and you might have to fiddle with your gauge and your hook size a little bit to make it work out, but when you do, it works out like this. And I was worried because I'd seen a few comments online from folks who'd said that it was quite tricky to get it to work to the right size and the right gauge and everything, and I lucked out because my very first granny square worked perfectly. So I had absolutely no issue. So this was, I haven't woven in the ends or anything, I just made a few up because I'd like to make a blanket with them for my little boy because he loves all the things I make, but he really wants a blanket out of it. Also because I wanted to try out a few different crochet squares and see if I could make it work, because as soon as I'd done this, it just piqued my interest. So this was my favourite, and it's just a standard traditional granny square, and I got it on point with the gauge and colour changes first time. The next two were not quite so easy. I made these two from looking at tutorials over on YouTube where people had used the yarn and made up different patterns. The second granny square that is not blocked at all that I tried was this one, and I think the person who put it up said it was a variation on like a sunburst, and I'm throwing it around. I liked it, but it took a lot of messing with my gauge, pulling it about to get it to work with the colour changes, and I found it quite frustrating. I realise it's designed to make these, and I have messed about with it because I was curious. It's not designed to make this. I still enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it afterwards when it was done. I did not enjoy making it because I found it really frustrating. This one, on the other hand, I did squidge around with it a little bit to make it work, but not an awful lot, and it wasn't anywhere near as frustrating as the other one, and that's this really, really cute little one. I love it. I was talking to my friend Jess at knit night the other night, and she said how cool it would be, and I'd already thought exactly the same thing, to make 4 of these and make a larger panel. So it has a little 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and then it looks like a larger radiating out square. Yeah, it would be cute. I might do it. But yeah, I made a few of those. I'm going to keep looking at the different tutorials online and maybe make a few more at some point, but really they're more just to sit as a sample of the yarn with it here in the studio, as and when we have open days and fun things and stitch nights and stuff like that. It was just a little bit of fun, but it is something that I've worked on since the last podcast. Those are the whips, the finished objects. Onto plans. Obviously I plan to carry on working on my blanket and my advent socks, but I also have other things. I want to cast on, I mentioned it in my Advents of Summer video, my jumper. I'm going to make the Stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry. And I am going to make it from this. This is the Never Enough weekly advent calendar from last year from Castleview Yarns. And here it is. It was in this lovely little organza bag, and I have caked the yarn. So the progress from the Advents of Summer video was that I have taken it out of the bag, caked it up, and then put it back in the bag because it's been a busy week. I'm pretty sure the order that it came in was, this was the last colour, this was the third one, this was the second, and this was the first. I've even put the yarn bands in the middle so that I haven't lost them. And it's a DK weight yarn. I have 400 grams. I'm going to try and make the stripes sweater. It will probably be cropped because I only have 400 grams. I'm not sure I'll have enough yarn. There's a little bit of me that's saying, make a Tolster instead. Make a Tolster instead. I might make a Tolster instead. I'll make the decision when I actually come to cast on, I think. I have 400 grams of caked up yarn, and it is glorious. I'm not going to lie, it is one of those ones that has made me feel a little bit frozen because it's so beautiful and so lovely and I don't want to ruin it. And then I remind myself that it is yarn and I can rip it back out and soak it if it's crinkly and dry it and use it again. Like, nothing is going to ruin it. It'll be fine. It's going back in the bag for now, but my plan is to make a final decision on the pattern before next week and cast it on. we shall see. But this is my second Advents of Summer Makealong project, and my plan is to always have throughout the Makealong a small project like socks, vanilla, little brain-free knit, and a larger project that maybe I only work on when I'm on the sofa or having a little bit of downtime or headspace. My only other plan before I record next week is to get started on my next gnome. I have marked my page. This is Nicole. Nicole is the cabled gnome from the Gnomes of Grimblewood book, and Nicole is lovely. Nicole has a really tall cabled hat and then relatively plain body and a curly little beard in this picture, and I'm going for DK yet again. I know that we are effectively making exactly the same pattern. It's not going quicker because it's on DK weight yarn, but in my brain, I don't know, the needles, the DK needles, the DK yarn all feel so much easier in my hands, less fiddly when it comes to little fiddly bits, like for example cables, and a bit more forgiving, I think, sometimes when it comes to gauge on that sort of thing as well. I'm still using up the DK weight undyed yarn that I had originally been using for my We Got This mini blanket, so I'm using that for all of the noses and beards and hands and things like that. And then I grabbed out this grey, which I dyed up ages ago to go with a pink from the Little Grey Girl, which I used to make a cowl, and I have this little nugget left over. It's a tonal speckledy grey. So I have this little nugget left over that we're going to use up. I'm using a lot of scraps in my gnomes for this year, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, I have this for the body, and then I have grabbed myself 2 DK weight minis. These are from my Advent last year. So yeah, this is from the All of Time and Space Advent. I have these 2 minis because you need 38 grams, I think it is, for the hat in the DK of Nicole. So the hat will be the teal, the body will be the grey, and then the undyed will be the little accents, bits and bobs, accessories. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I have the yarn picked out for my June gnome, which is Nicole. I'm going to try and get started on Nicole. On to stash enhancement, and I have had some. The first thing that I've had delivered since the last time I recorded was my Spin and Blether 2025 Self-Stripe Advent. I cannot believe it. I ordered, it feels like 2 minutes ago, like a month ago. I don't know. I can't remember when I ordered this Advent, but it wasn't very long ago. And we are in June, and it was actually delivered in May. It was delivered before the start of the month. But it also gives me loads of motivation to finish the 2024 socks because the 2025 are ready for December. The other thing that I have is something that I haven't completely opened yet, and it is living in this basket and this box. In the month of June, myself and 2 of my friends have our birthdays. We are all June babies. So what we have done for the last few years is a swap. So everyone in the swap, all 3 of us, ends up with 2 parcels, and each parcel has 15 little things and a birthday present. So we get 2 presents on our birthdays and 15 little bits and bobs to open. It started being little nuggets of yarn. It's like a scrappy swap. But then it escalated and we started including other little bits and bobs. So it's mainly yarn still, but then other little bits and bobs. I haven't opened some of it because it's not my birthday yet. So we are on the 6th of the month, which means I have so far opened 6 things. I actually opened them all today because I brought these things to work each time they've been delivered, popped them down, and then things have got crazy busy. So today I got a bumper day of opening 6 and catching up at the beginning. So I've just grabbed the 6 that I've opened so far, and I have these 3 little nuggets of yarn so far, which are very cute. And then from Brendy, I have these little gorgeous things, 2 little beautiful balls of yarn. And then I also have this little stitch marker case that was full of little stitch markers. So I've got loads of multicoloured little stitch markers inside this little handmade little pouch, which I absolutely love. So yeah, I'm thoroughly spoilt. Throughout the birthday month, June baby's birthday month, I will open a tiny little parcel every day. It's a real pick-me-up. It's a real treat. So that's my stash enhancement for the last couple of weeks. Now, before I go into reading and watching, I have a Makealong winner to announce. We have the Friends That Grimble Together Midway prize. This winner will receive a little bundle of goodies which will include some mini skeins that could potentially be used for gnomes, but obviously other things too. So I'm going to keep that as a surprise for the Makealong winner. There are more than 100 finished gnomes shared in that group already. I am absolutely over the moon. It is a parade of amazing gnomes. Maybe I should share some of the gnomes here because there are so many gnomes and they are all absolutely amazing. There is still plenty of time to join in and there will be more prizes at the end. So I went through all of the finished gnomes that have been posted in the Discord thread and I have a winner. The winner for the Midway prize is this awesome noddy. This noddy was made by Elizabeth and is looking incredibly smart in their national colours as Elizabeth dressed Noddy to celebrate their Constitution Day in Norway. How cute is this noddy? Well done, Elizabeth. Well done, everybody else that has finished gnomes, and they are all still eligible for prizes at the end. So it doesn't matter when you post them, if you posted them up until now or later on, at any point, all of those are still in the running for prizes at the end of the Makealong as well. So before I get into reading and watching, I will talk about the featured product. This week it is something really dinky. These are teeny tiny summer beach ball gnome needle stoppers, and I love them. I'm going to pop one on a needle so you can see. So I use needle stoppers and point protectors in my projects mainly because I have young children and a bonkers dog, and I like to put things down and I forget to put them back into the bag, and then my project is on the floor and the needles are no longer in it mysteriously. I managed to get some little gnome point protectors. I have lots of different gnome ones actually. I have Halloween gnome ones that are coming to the shop. They might be up when this video goes up, they might not be. But these ones have my love right now because they have beach balls and they look very summery and I love them. And I live by the sea and they felt beachy with their beach balls and their summer vibes. And yeah, so we have little beach ball gnome needle stoppers for this week. Okay, on to watching. I'm getting a minute now. So for watching, I have not had an awful lot of screen time over the last couple of weeks because it's been the half-term holidays and other things, but I will talk about all that in live stuff. But I have been to the cinema with the children. The live-action Lilo and Stitch movie came out. I love the original Lilo and Stitch. And I've seen lots of things online, people who are happy or not happy about all of the live-action remakes of Disney films. But we really enjoyed it. We went to our little local cinema here in Lowestoft. We still have a little independent local cinema. During the half term, when Chris was in work one day, I took the children and they absolutely loved it. They were mesmerised the entire way through. I laughed and I cried. I think I cried more than once. But that is normal for me in most films. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I have watched into series 2 of Buffy, so I'm doing a big Buffy rewatch to sort of reconfirm the favourite episodes that are going out with the advent calendars for this year, because my Yarny advent calendar for this year is a Buffy themed advent. So I am now into series 2 and loving it just as much as always. It's just on in the background or while I am getting some work done. My kids are probably still a little young for it, so they haven't seen any. I just have it on my iPad while I'm getting stuff done. And I haven't had any other real watching time other than obviously Doctor Who. I won't put any spoilers up actually, just in case anybody hasn't seen the last episode, but obviously there was a large announcement that was going out on all the news things, so everyone was like, oh, what's coming? And then in the last episode we had a flash of what's coming, and I am intrigued. I'm sad when we come to the end of a Doctor Who series, but at the same time, I wouldn't say this has been my favourite series. This Doctor, no complaints. Not all the stories have been my absolute favourites. I did enjoy the last couple. It's been highs and lows, like with every series. I don't think actually there's ever been a single series of Doctor Who where I've said every single episode knocked it out of the park. I am going to be sad that we don't have it every weekend now. On to reading, and I did think maybe from now on I will just mention the books when I start one or finish one, because otherwise I'm just talking about the same books, because I haven't had tons of chances to read. I have finished Making It So, which was the memoir from Patrick Stewart, and I loved every moment of it. I laughed, I cried, I just adored it, the whole thing, and I was so sad when it was finished. Yeah, I feel a little bit bereft. I only finished it a couple of days ago and I feel a little bit like I've lost something. It was brilliant and I would recommend it to anyone, but I would very much recommend the audiobook, which is what I had. I listened to his book because hearing it told in his voice is just wonderful. So 5 stars for making it so. In terms of what I'm still reading, it's still Mad Honey and A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, because I haven't had any time to sit and read. I've done so much crochet, and when I crochet I can't read at the same time. I can watch things while I crochet because you can look up and look down, but with reading, if I'm sitting and reading and I'm working on a vanilla-ish knit like this, I've got no problem. I can sit and I can focus, but with crochet, because I have to look down so much, I can't focus on a paper book. I haven't picked another audiobook yet, and I will at some point because I'm missing having one already, but I haven't decided. And now we're at the end, we're on to life. Wow, it has been a busy couple of weeks, and I wanted to record this video on Wednesday, but I couldn't because lots of stuff happened. There has been drilling and hammering at the studio, quite a lot. Not in my unit, but in the space next to mine. And to be honest, it's been like that for the over a year that I've been here. It's been more than a year, guys, that I've been here. And that's been really hard for me to cope with while I'm working, the noise levels, but also I can't really record while it's happening. It's been the half-term holidays for the kiddos. They went back to school on Monday, but this week has just been a little up and down. I took a morning out to see a family member, which I would like to do regularly, and lots of little bits and bobs family stuff going on that I don't tend to talk about on the podcast because it's not in my household immediate family, and everybody has their right to privacy and me not putting their life onto the YouTubes. We ended up at the beach for the majority of it. Now, we are in a seaside town. We didn't go to Lowestoft Beach as much. We went up the road just a little bit to Gorleston Beach, and we have been spending a lot of time there hunting sea glass on the slightly worse weather days. We wore our wellies and our rain jackets, and on the nicer weather days they paddled around and wore their shorts and took their shoes and socks off and went in the water. We found absolutely tons of sea glass. We are putting it all into a big glass jar that we are going to use for some sort of family project to make something to go on the wall, and I have just finished a stripe, so I need to swap it, because now that I have started doing the whole once I finished one stripe I start the next one, I am really getting a bit weird about it, and I don't want to get 2 stripes ahead. We also had a funeral last week for a very dear family friend, one of my mum's friends, who was an absolutely amazing woman. It's one of those little reminders of our mortality and the fact that everything could be gone tomorrow, so you've got to do the things you want to do today and live life how you want to live it and be happy about it. It's been a really busy last couple of weeks, but it has mainly been family, life, stuff. As usual, everyone has busy lives, and I know you will get it just as much as I do. It's just been very overwhelming all the time, but that is life, and I think now that I am recording weekly, I am realising life is overwhelming. That is life. That is what it's like. The weather doesn't know what it's doing. Typical England. Apparently it's summer, but we're in June and it's been absolutely pouring with rain the last couple of days. Wednesday night this week was stitch night here at the studio, so I had a few of my lovely ladies come in. The majority of the stripes that I got worked in one sitting this week was when I sat waiting for 2 new tyres on my car, which, my God, tyres are always expensive. My car needed 2 new tyres, so I got those fitted, sat and knit on my sock whilst I had those fitted, and then I went to my MOT, where I sat and knit while my car had its MOT, which it failed. Luckily, I have a very, very handy dad who is going to do the little bit of work it needs. It's not a dangerous fault or anything like that. It was just a little thing that needs replacing. So my car is with my dad. I did have a slight glimmer of hope that I might be able to do a quick day visit to the Woolmonty this weekend, but it's not going to happen now that my car is out of action. Anyway, I think that was everything. So I'm going to go, and I made progress. If you have got all the way till the end of this podcast, well done you, because I know I natter on. But leave me an emoji. Leave me a motorbike emoji. I think I've asked for a motorbike emoji once before because I was considering riding my bike to the Woolmonty. Probably not going to. Motorbike emoji, and thank you as always for making me so much less of a lonely knitter.